I'm James Spann. This is the morning edition of the Weather Xtreme video. This is for Wednesday, the 23rd day of June. Hot weather is the story, and it should be the story here this time of the year. Afternoon storms possible, pretty widely scattered today, but we are looking at possible changes in about 4 or 5 days. And the tropics are interesting as well, so let's dive in and take a look. Here's a look at some of the Skycam shots around the network early this morning. First off from Clanton. Sky looking good there. That's looking east from downtown Clanton. The sun getting ready to come up. Days are getting shorter now. We're past the solstice. That's the Decatur Skycam. Always a nice scene overlooking the Tennessee River. The sky is clear. And from downtown Fayette, that's the Fayette County Courthouse. Well, pretty standard setup there. We've got that hot air bubble across the southern states, the heat ridge there extending from Texas into the deep south, and all of the really active weather is up on top of the heat ridge. And there's the mess this morning, flash flood watches and severe weather watches up for parts of the Midwest. And yeah, the MCS of the morning blowing through Milwaukee at about 5 o'clock. That's a severe thunderstorm watch until 10 o'clock this morning. That does include Chicago, and things could get pretty rough up there. Look at that big moderate risk. That includes Chicago, Indianapolis, Detroit, Cleveland, Erie, and Buffalo. And surrounding that, a slight risk all the way from near Amarillo, Texas, almost to the Atlantic coast. Day 2, New England, with a slight risk of severe weather. That includes places like Boston and Bangor, Maine. And on day 3, which is Friday, a slight risk for the Dakotas and Minnesota. In the QPF chart, obviously, the big action is up north, and this is valid through Sunday evening at 7. That goes through the weekend. Tropical weather. The wave in the Caribbean has not changed much overnight. The guys at the Hurricane Center maintain that low-end chance of this thing getting its act together, and if it can survive this short-term shearing, there seems to be a more favorable setup over the Gulf. A number of the dynamic models do identify this and track it coming across the Yucatan, then curving north up into the Gulf of Mexico. The model with interest is the GFDL. It has constantly identified this, and it's wanted to bring it up toward the Central Gulf. This is the latest run, and it now brings it to around Buras, Louisiana. Not too far from New Orleans, is a tropical storm, not a hurricane. It is much weaker on this run. It's showing 35-meter winds at 58 knots. And that would be, in 5 days, the 28th of June. So, again, interest in the Gulf of Mexico, need to keep an eye on this. But obviously, nobody knows at this point if and when that's going to happen. It's got to get its act together first and get up on the board before we can identify that. But certainly, we'll be watching. Take a look at the GFS, the Global Forecast System. This is one of the prime American global models, valid at 1 o'clock this afternoon. This is at 500 millibars. The core of the westerlies up on the Canadian border. That 594 circle you see down here represents the heat ridge. And so the weather today should be like weather in recent days, highs in the low and mid-90s, with the risk of a thunderstorm in a few spots. Tomorrow, the ridge weakens ever so slightly, and then Friday, again, just slight differences in temperatures aloft can mean the difference in a lot of storms on radar and nothing. We'll go down at the surface, and as I often mention, these synoptic scale maps don't really help a lot when you're trying to forecast summer convection, but there's some evidence with a weaker ridge and a moisture axis. There could be a little increase in the number of scattered showers and storms on Friday. And then Saturday, pretty much the same deal. We're going to broad brush the weekend with the typical summer forecast. Partly sunny, hot, humid, the chance of scattered showers and storms in the afternoon. In there Sunday, highs probably in the low 90s. We'll say somewhere between 90 and 94. Monday of next week, look at the trough beginning to form over the east. As the heat ridge begins to shift off to the west, down below that you can see what could be a general increase in convection. And Tuesday, that trough is relatively sharp for summertime. The ridge pretty far to the west. We have a northwest flow aloft, and by golly, the GFS wants to push a surface front. And notice we don't call it a cold front, but a surface front all the way down to near U.S. Highway 278 or Hamilton, Cullman, Gadsden. How about that? But that would suggest an increased chance of showers and storms early next week with heat levels coming down. And Wednesday, that's a nice trough over the East Coast. And the GFS is bold and daring and pushes the boundary all the way down to deep South Alabama with drier continental air getting in here. That would mean lower humidity values and cooler nights. Now, that's 7 days in advance, and obviously cold fronts rarely come through here on the last day of June, but it's not impossible, so we'll see. The end of the forecast on the 8th of July, pretty standard look there. The good news, no intense, fierce heat bubbles showing up. That's pretty standard. Warm, muggy with some risk of scattered showers and storms out there if this is right. That's it for the Weather Xtreme video today. We'll have notes on the blog, the next video here by 3:30 or so today. And if you're local to us, we invite you to watch us on television this evening, ABC 3340 in Birmingham at 5, 6, and 10. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day, and God bless.